always wondered to myself, is there something that helps the entrepreneurs that succeed that they have, which other entrepreneurs don't? Is it something they know? Is it how they run their businesses? Is it the people they hire? Is it where they went to school? Is it their socialization, their background, their education, their mental spaces? What is it that makes the entrepreneur succeed? Welcome to my masterclasses, where I share with you everything you need to know about how to become a high-growth, high-scale entrepreneur. I'm joined by guests. We break down the myths, the ideas, the myths, the legends, everything you need to know to become a high-growth entrepreneur. Warning, this is the High Performance Zone. Let's keep going. There's a few more. I'm cognizant of time.
I think I'm next.
Who's next?
I'm next.
There you are.
Yes. When we were speaking about the barriers there in some of the businesses there, you reminded me of something that you once said on I think it was SABC one.
Yeah.
About franchising.
Yeah.
You said you wouldn't encourage anybody to go for franchising.
Nope.
And because of the barriers that exist there. So I want to know why are what's your take? Why do you think the franchising business is expensive? Because I was reading an article not so long ago. I think KFC has closed opportunities at the moment for franchising.
Mm-hmm.
And then the numbers one I think is around 7 million if you want to buy a franchise for them. And I think it's something I can think the issue for less than that and sell chicken. So why do you think it's so expensive those barriers? And I think those barriers they also exist in the digital market now with your Netflix and your Shownext and so forth. So
yeah, look.
What
let me take a stab at it. So my view, it's a controversial view. The guys at Franchise Association of South Africa, I'm sure, don't like that I hold this view. But it's my view. Franchising is not entrepreneurship. Franchising is franchising. Right? We have to go through this process, and I want us to go through it, the foundation, the scaffolding, etc. It's really important, guys. But the reason a franchise is important is because they've built it for you. Okay, so what you do is you identify a site, you give them a couple of million rand, and then they come in and they install. They put up a brand, which they market, so the customer already knows it. They have a menu, which the customer already knows. They have goods, and they know the full value chain of where the goods comes from. So the reason a Steers burger tastes the way a Steers burger tastes is because the bun of a Steers burger gets made in the same place for every Steers burger in the country. And makes in the same way. Right. So if you were to start your own business, you would first have to figure out all of the problems that they have solved. That's why it's a franchise. Okay? They go through a process of solving all the problems so that by the time you join, they give you a key. That's how a franchise works. You pay them the money, they come and set it up. You pay them money for the stock, they give you the stock in it. Then they give you a key with the till. And what you do is you open up the shop and you manage the till. Yeah? So you are at... Yeah, I don't want to use profanities, but you're a glorified shopkeeper who gets a percentage of the upside. You get a percentage of the upside, but remember the franchisor takes no risk because monthly you've got to pay them the franchise license fee. Whether you make money above or below the license fee is not their problem. You've got to make the money. So franchising is not entrepreneurship, and that's why this is why I have a serious problem in South Africa with state funding agencies funding franchises and calling it entrepreneurship, or funding franchises, and then when the franchises employ people, they call it job creation. Like, you know, I'm fascinated. You guys fascinate. South Africans fascinate me. So you live in a country with a 27% unemployment rate by the narrow definition, 46% by the broad definition. For young black Africans between the ages of 18 and 35, the number of unemployment is over 58%. That's 6 in 10, 3 in 5. Yet, given those macroeconomics, you're investing more in building malls than building factories. And you're forgetting that people go to malls to buy stuff that they don't need using credit they can't afford. And then you're wondering why you're not creating jobs. Man. No, man. There's something broken in this equation. And then I'm going to make, this is just a final thought for you. In effect, a part of the problem, I think, is that we have people who are given the authority but don't have the cognitive understanding of the authority they are given. So you can run a funding agency, wait, let me finish. You can run a funding agency and you've never had to raise funding. So you don't know what you don't know. That's why a government funding agency will ask you for a business plan. Guys, I've just said to you, in this value chain, if she went to ask for funding, the first question must be, which business are you funding? Because each of these have different fundamentals. Then the second question must be, and what's the capital requirement of these? What is the capital structure it can sustain? And what's your payback period? Only then can we have a conversation about a business plan. But the minute she walks in, no one asks her that question. They just go, here's an application form, fill it in. Then she goes to fill in that she wants a farm, and they tell her, but you don't have security. Duh! Security for what? I don't mean to be presumptuous, but she's a young black female. What do you think of the odds of family gifted at 10 million rand in money just to use a security somewhere? Of course she doesn't have it. Can we just think a little bit? But it's because the system is designed so that they can put through applications, show you how many businesses they've funded. At the end of the year, give it to an MMC, who gives it to an MEC, who gives it to a minister, who then goes and claims it in the budget speech. The system is wrong, guys. The system is wrong. And you can fix it. The thing is, we can fix it. That's why I said to you when we started, we are having the wrong debates. The debates, for me, that's the debate we should be having. Is, can we, all of us here, you know, as entrepreneurs, we're funny. Eh? All of us, we're funny. If they want to pass a law to regulate how much to pay units of labor, people that we employ, labor organizes itself in this thing called a union. Then they go to business. Business doesn't talk alone, eh? They organize themselves, either under business unity or business leadership. Who organized us? Now, if we're not organized, what do you think are the odds they're going to talk to us? Of course not. That's why we don't have a regime of law for entrepreneurs, because we are not organized. We're running around doing our own things. We're doing audited financial statements here. Then you want to do sunflower. What? And we're not, because we're not organized. If you're not organized, you can't speak. Communities know this, right? That's why the first things. What is the first thing communities do when they want to get government to pay attention? Just before they strike, what do? They form a forum. Yes. They call it a community forum, and they appoint a forum leader. Then they write a memorandum. Then they strike. By the time the NC breaking news. This thing is formed, Baba. There's even a forum leader who speaks on behalf of the community. So we, and maybe it's a challenge we should all take, but maybe we should need to think about how do we organize ourselves so that when they want to talk to us, they have to talk to us. That's why labor laws are not geared for entrepreneurs. South Africa, you employ a person, one person, just one. The labor laws that apply to you are exactly the same labor laws that ShopRite has to use with 60,000 people. You are an entrepreneur. You start your business today with one. You find one person to answer the phone. If that person doesn't do the job properly, the process you have to go through to dismiss them is exactly the same process ShopRite must go through. Where do you have the time to issue a disciplinary and to do a warning? Where are you going to get the templates? You probably hired them with a one-page employment contract. You don't even know how to do quarterly reviews. You don't know the difference between a KPA and a KPI. You just wanted to run your auditing business. That's all you wanted to do. Now you must manage a receptionist. But it will be the case because we are not organized. We don't talk in a unitary voice. And until the day we're organized and talk in a unitary voice, unfortunately, we are going to be the takers of the regulation that's set for us. We will never get to have a voice in what the regulation should be. Okay?
My name is Enoch.
Your name is?
Enoch.
Right.
The social name is Nyangabo.
Right.
Okay. I'm doing what you're doing, but so I want to ask you. As I'm studying, I get advice and I do this for free. So I want to ask, when
when you get to a point whereby you get to charge them, do you charge them based on your, what is this, value or reputation? Yes, reputation. When you get to a place where now, guys, you have to charge
So you're speaking?
Sorry?
So you're speaking?
Yes.
Yeah, I can answer yours very quickly. What's your claim to fame?
Sorry?
What is your claim to fame?
Claim to fame.
Utumengan. Why must they listen to you?
I'm more into business. I talk about business. I wrote my first book, but it's still in the process. But it's a copy. I talk about business and also into spiritual matters. Yes, because I'm a born again Christian. Yes.
Amen, brother preacher.
So I'm into business world.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
21. How long have you been speaking?
I think 4 years.
All right, I'm going to give you some advice. Take 4 more years, and those 4 more years are going to be your school fees years. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to try and speak at every single church conference, every single wedding, every single gathering. If somebody's Jewish and you know them, they're having a bar mitzvah, you have to speak there. If there's a 21st birthday party, you've got to speak there. If somebody's child is born, be at the hospital to speak there too. What I want you to do, there's a word for it in public speaking, it's called podium time. Okay, so you've got to get serious podium time. Because all you want to do is you just want to perfect your craft. Okay, I'm going to give you some advice somebody gave me when I was much younger. And it's probably the most valuable piece of advice I ever got. When you're building a brand, you can't afford to have an ego. You've got to do whatever it takes to build it. And you know, I'm going to tell you guys who actually gave me that advice. True story, George Sombonos. George Sombonos is passed now. He used to run a company called Chicken Licken. And true story, I was in the Johnny Walker had a prize that they used to give to successful entrepreneurs, right? And George is in the running to win the prize. And I get to him, I'm like, this is good as nice. And he's wearing this like old shoddy suit, and I'm looking at him going, are you as good as nice? He's good. And I'm like, are you that guy? Because he didn't look, he's a short guy. I'm like, it doesn't look like him. So we end up chatting, and true, 2 weeks later, I'm driving past a Chicken Licken on William Nicol, and I'm hungry. This was before I had a specialized eating plan, you know? So I was like, let me pull in. So I pull into the Chicken Licken to buy some food. And I see this guy picking up papers outside the Chicken Licken. There's a bit of litter, and and I'm like, that looks like George. That can't be George. Like, this is the guy, he owns the franchise. He can't be picking up, and it was him. So I go through the drive-through. At the time it was my first car, Toyota Run-X. So I finish buying, I go through the drive-through and I pull up in the parking, and he remembered me. He's like, hi, George. He's like, yeah, Vusi, I remember you. I said, why are you picking up papers? He says, what do you mean? He was genuinely puzzled. I'm like, why are you picking up papers? He says, no, because they are here. This is my shop. And the papers, they need to be picked up, right? Because in my mind, I'm like, I would have come in and gone, Elon. There's papers, that's what I would have done, right? I wouldn't, But he's genuinely puzzled at me being puzzled that he's picking up papers. So I'm like, but you own this whole thing. And at the time, I think he had like 120 or 130 franchises. I'm like, you own this thing. Why would you pick up papers? And he said to me, when you're building a brand, you can't afford an ego. Yeah. He says, because the customer that drives past doesn't go, who picked up the papers? They just go, are the papers picked up, yes or no? So I'm going to give you, just get podium time. As much podium time as you can get it. Take it everywhere you can take it. Give yourself 4 years. Be patient with yourself. Because podium time will allow you 2 things. The first is 3. First is narrow your craft, so get good at it. The second is you'll get to know what you like to talk about. And that's the thing you'll talk about often. And the more you talk about it, the better you get at talking about it. And then the third thing it's going to give you is credibility. Because the more people see you, the more people want to see you. Then the question like, when do you start charging, will answer itself. Someday someone's going to phone you and go, hey man, can you, how much? Okay. Cool. Okay. Are you ready? Yes. Can you pass him the mic?
Okay.
Did you see how the comrades fought for you? The white guy. They fought for him. Eh?
can I just speak my voice?
Yeah, you can. It's all good. Go for it.
So, my name's Johan.
Hi, Johan.
Yeah, and I just started my business 2 months ago.
Right.
I do something very specific.
Right.
I paint portrait pictures of people's loved ones and their pets specifically.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So, what I would like
Are you any good at painting?
Well, let's say it this way. I have a passion for painting, and then I develop my craft as well as I paint.
Got you.
So yeah, I've done now about 20 commissions now for people.
Right.
And like I said, the problem I'm solving is immortalizing people's memories so they can have it for the rest of their lives. Right? Okay? So what I would like to know is, and I'm also now about the value chain with all that in consideration, I would like to know, how do I network with people who might be more willing to buy paintings? It's more the concept of networking with higher value customers. Let me just explain quickly why I say so, because it takes me about 12 to 20 hours to do one painting, and then I charge like 350 Rand for a painting, and I put my whole heart and soul in. And I realize it's not going to be sustainable that way, so I need to get, without being blunt or anything, a little bit richer clients.
Yeah.
How do I reach that?
Who can pay you more money?
Yeah.
Yeah. The first thing I was actually going to ask you is around the economics of your business, duration to make, as well as retail cost, right? Because you're doing the work, you're the input. So the theory of constraint is that the theory of constraint around your business is that you can't multiply yourself. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to think really hard about that. Wow, we're going back to 1980s now. I wonder if you shouldn't be investing in some sort of technology that would do the paintings for you, that would probably multiply some of your time. Unless, as I get the sense that you're genuinely passionate about painting.
Yeah.
Okay, well then you want to do it yourself, but then you're in a long haul game, bud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I also feel. Because like people like, I don't know if you know Andy Warhol. He was like one of the famous
Yeah.
painters. He got like a factory of painters to do the work.
Yeah.
And like I think that could be a future, but for first I just want to self and then employ more people when I really get.
What's your play? How long are you in this for?
Alright, yes, this sounds very, I'm scared of saying this my whole life.
How old are you now?
25,
Married?
unmarried,
Kids?
none.
That you know about? That's fair. Yeah, look, I would, sure, Johan, I don't want to be presumptuous as to your life, but I would 10-year it, bud. I would 10-year it. I'd peg it at 35, and I'd go, next 10 years, podium time.
Okay.
And I'm going to do as much work as I can for as many people as I can, because then I'm going to get to hone my craft, which is really important. And I'm going to get a level of demand in the market where people know that this is what I do. The great thing about the position you're in, which excites me, is that you've already picked an area to specialize in. So you're not just a painter, but you know what you paint and you know for what purpose. So I think the one part of your business is what's my game plan? How long am I going to spend in the game?
Yeah.
And how do I hone the craft?
Yes.
Here's the second part of your business, which I think is the really exciting part, is branding and marketing, right? So in your mind, you've got to start thinking about, how do I make sure that the customer who's going to buy what I need can afford what I want? And also, how do I make sure that they know I exist? The second part of the question is much harder, just raising basic awareness. And what you might want to think about here is going to art galleries and maybe thinking about a sort of partnership or relationship with art galleries where they allow you to exhibit one or two of your works. That's one way to do it. It probably is less effective than the second one I'm going to suggest. And guys, I'm doing this on the fly. But the second one I would suggest is I would find 3 to 5 high net worth individuals, what we call HNWIs, and I would offer my services to them in exchange for a portfolio. So, dear Mandla, right, I know that you are somebody who loves his dog because I've seen it on your Instagram profile or whatever. What would you say about me doing a portrait of you and your dog together, right? And make it a massive canvas, but I'm talking like wall frame canvas.
Yes,
Incur-
I paint these.
Exactly, right?
I do paint those.
There you go. So you're already doing it. And then what I would do is once I've collected the work, you're going to give it to them and gift it to them. Nobody hangs a painting in the garage, especially one of themselves. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to put it in the most prominent spot in their house. Then every person that walks in is going to go, that's beautiful. How did you get that? And what you know is eagles fly with eagles. High net worth individuals keep company with high net worth individuals. And that's going to create for you the waterfall. You get the customers to keep coming in. Yeah? The third bit, this is going to be the tricky bit. Take this because this is advice that's going to make you real money. Okay. Who takes your phone calls at the moment?
I do myself.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Do you have an aunt who doesn't work, or like a granny who's retired, or a cousin who's out of jail or something?
I have friends who could maybe help me.
Right. So here's what you got to do.
Yeah.
This is so important, guys. Listen to this. So the first illusion you create in market is you got to distort supply and demand dynamics. So what you got to do is you got to figure out a way of making sure that you're not available, even if you are. Yeah. So here's what you do. So you get a phone with a number. You give it to an aunt, a grandmother. Hello, you've reached your aunt's studios. Okay. That's all you're looking for. And when people phone, they've got to reach that person. And then what you do is you save the voicemail on the phone as a voicemail on the company phone. Hello, you've reached your aunt's studios. I'm currently on assignment. I'm unable to take your call for the next 48 hours. Please leave a message. You've got to create the illusion of demand. You could be at home watching Teletubbies. Nobody knows. Nobody knows, okay? But then they're going to phone, and they're going to leave a phone. They're going to leave a voice message. Then you've got to get a person to communicate on your behalf. Never, ever put yourself as the person selling the product. Anyone here ever met Daimler when you bought a Mercedes? Yeah, because he didn't sell the cars himself. Anybody here met Henry Ford when they bought a Ford? How many of you here phoned Bill Gates when you bought a Microsoft product? Yeah? Yeah. Always create a distance between yourself and the customer. Make sense?
Okay, so just a very cheap trick I can do. I can just make my own voicemail like that.
I did that for many years, by the way.
Yes, and then maybe like a day or two later, I'm like, hey, thank you for reaching out to me. I was very hectic.
You got it. He's got it. But remember this, never being involved in the price discussion yourselves. You don't want to be involved in the price discussion yourself. So the next thing I would do is set a price, bud. This is the price. Guys, when you set a price, be honest to the price. Don't shift, don't move. You're not saying, acha, this thing is not negotiable. Set the price. This is the price of my work. It's the value of my time. And then you get the person who phones on your behalf to talk to the customer about the value of the work. This is not about price, okay? Because then, so you'll remove yourself from the process. While you're in the process, you create the illusion of demand. You supply the stuff to high net worth individuals who will network it with other high net worth individuals. And I promise you now, in 10 years' time, you and I are going to have a very different conversation. And whatever happens, I just want 10%.